Okay, so we are doing an in-class activity over how to easily get the unit circle and replicate it within at least 5 minutes, because what you're going to see on a quiz or a test is many questions where you have to use the unit circle. And if you're not easily able to replicate it or have it memorized, then you're going to spend a really long time working on just making a unit circle and not answering the actual questions of the test. So if you need a recap on what we did in class, or if you were absent, this is the video for you to watch. We are going to look at some tricks to replicating the unit circle other than memorizing it. So the first thing is you need to know the all students take calc. That's going to tell you which quadrants are positive and negative for the different trig functions. So in quadrant 1, all are positive and none are negative. In quadrant 2, sine and its counterpart, which would be cosecant, are positive, the rest are negative. Quadrant 3, tangent and its counterpart cotangent are positive, the rest are negative. Quadrant 4, cosine and its reciprocal, secant, are positive, the rest are negative. So that should be the first trick. And I think I showed that in the last video from day 1 where we were deriving the unit circle. All students take calc, and that's going to help you remember which one of your coordinates are positive, negative. So in the coordinate spaces, I know these are all going to be positive, and these are going to be sine is positive. So if you remember from last class, this x value is cosine and sine is y. So if sine is positive, then all of my cosines are going to be negative in this quadrant. In this quadrant, tangent's the one that's positive, and tangent is y over x, or sine over cosine. So that means both of these, to get a positive tangent, would have to be negative. So x and y are both negative here. And then in this one, cosine is positive, everything else is negative. So that means sine would be negative on my coordinates, which is the y value. And then this one is the y value. All right, now how do we fill in let's do radians next. So radians, we know we start at 0 pi. I'm going to have you remember this, A, S, A, P, ASAP. So to do radians, we are going to remember all prime. This means all prime. All pi. I'm going ahead of myself. This means all pi. Okay? So each one is going to have a pi on top. And you have to remember, I would say the one thing that you do need to memorize would be quadrant 1. So here at the 30 degree, we know that is going to be pi over 6. Halfway is pi over 4. And then our 60 degree is pi over 3. So one way I remember these is that the 30 degree gets the 6, so they're opposite of each other. And the 60 degree gets the 3, so again, they're opposite of each other. But you do need to memorize which one's the 6 and which one's the 3rd. Also, if you think about it, 1/6 is smaller than 1/3. So you know that you're going to be closer to the 0 at the 1/6. But you should memorize the 6, 4, and 3 denominators. And then this one is 2, pi over 2. Okay, so based on the quadrant 1, that's how ASAP is going to go. So the first one is all pi. The second one, you're going to do the S, which means subtract 1. So you're going to subtract from the denominator to get the numerator. So the denominators all stay the same. This would be 6, 4, and 3. And then we're going to subtract to get the top, subtract 1. So 6 minus 1 would be 5 pi over 6. 4 minus 1 would be 3 pi over 4. And 3 minus 1 would be 2 pi over 3. We know that 80 degrees or 180 degrees is pi. Okay, going the other way, the bottom third quadrant, you're still going to have the same exact denominators. So this one is equivalent to the 30. That's going to be over 6, over 4, over 3. The A in this one says add 1 to get the top. So add 1 to your denominator to get the top one. So 6 plus 1 is 7 pi over 6. 4 plus 1, 5 pi over 4. 3 plus 1, 4 pi over 3. And then here is 3 pi over 2. Oops, I put that in the degree spot. 3 pi over 2 is one of your quadrantals, so that one should be memorized as well. Okay, the fourth quadrant, the P is the prime. So if we're going prime on the top, the denominators are still going to be the same. So we're starting closer to the axis will be over 6. The middle one's over 4, over 3. And the primes are going to be 3. So we start here really. 3 pi, 5 pi, 7 pi, 11 pi. So it's not odd because 9 is not prime. It's the primes, 3, 5, 7, 11. And then we go, of course, all the way around to 2 pi. Another way I remember this is 5 days a week I go to 7-Eleven. As long as you know that this one's 3 pi over 2. Okay, so that is ASAP, and that's how you get all of your radian measures. Again, you can also look at it as partial pieces of pi and 2 pi, like I showed you on the video last time. With finding the coordinates now, you're going to use your hand, your left hand, and the pinky is going to represent the 0 axis, and the thumb is going to represent your 90 degrees, pi over 2. This represents the 30 degree, the 45, and the 60. So 30, 45, 60 are these 3 fingers. So as you're going through, it's going to help you find the coordinates. What you need to remember is we are going to take the square root of the top number and over the bottom number. Okay, so if I want to find the 30 degrees, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 30 degrees down, which would be this finger. And I'm going to take the square root of these numbers, so it'll be the square root of 3. And it's always going to be over 2. Sorry, I think I said that wrong just a minute ago. So it's always, the denominator is always going to be over 2. So square root of the top numbers over 2. And then this one is going to be this side of the comma. This is kind of like your comma. So it'll be square root of 1 over 2. And square root of 1 is just 1. So we would simplify it to 1 over 2. Okay. For the 45, so the 45 represents this finger. We're going to put it down. That represents our comma. So now we have square root of 2 over 2. Remember, it's always over 2. And this one, square root of 2 over 2. For your 60, this finger goes down. That's your comma. Square root of 1 over 2, which is just 1 over 2. And square root of 3 over 2. Okay, and then if I wanted to do the 90, I'd put this one down, so that would be 0. And then square root of 4 over 2. Square root of 4 is 2, and 2 over 2 is 1. So it works for the quadrantals as well. Put this one down. Square root of 4 over 2 would be 2 over 2, so 1, and then none. So that would be how you get your quadrant 1 coordinates. And then from here, we're just going to mirror image them over. And we know that based on all students take calc, which ones are going to be positive and which ones are going to be negative. Down here, same thing. Make sure you're doing the 30 degree with the 30 degree and not the 60 degree. So that should be 1 over 2. Over 2, root 2 over 2, root 2 over 2. This one will be 1/2, root 3 over 2. And then over here, you'd got 0, -1. This one was your 60, so it'd be 1/2 and √3/2, √2/2, √2/2. And then this one would be your 30, √3/2, 1/2. Okay, so if you need to go back through and watch the tricks, we've got all students take calc for signs of coordinates. We've got ASAP for your radians, and we've got the hand trick to find the coordinates at each radian. Hopefully you can use these to help you complete the unit circle as quickly as possible so you can use it more as a tool rather than spending all your time trying to figure out where everything goes. Okay.